Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Donald Mo's Electrical Services. So, I'm going to make a video that's specifically going out to electrical helpers. Alright? And this is for the helpers that have had some type of schoolwork or have at least 6 months into the trade. Okay? One, if you're 6 months in and you don't have any type of book knowledge, start buying books on Amazon. All right. Don't become complacent in your job. Just because you have a job doesn't mean you have a future. You have to earn that future. All right. Because believe me, if you don't have any book knowledge and you're 6 months into this trade, anyone that has book knowledge can come across and basically steal your job. Doesn't matter how friendly you are with management. It doesn't matter, because when a slow period hits or the company isn't bidding as many jobs as normal, they're going to cut the fat. And if you don't have book knowledge behind your labor, you're going to get cut, okay? Because they're going to keep the labor that at least has some book knowledge and still pay you nothing. Okay, we're going to get into that because there's ways that you can increase your pay, and that's what I'm going to get to in this video. All right. So if you're 6 months in and you're a laborer, you can buy electrical theory books on Amazon. It's, the knowledge that you need is out there, and you don't need a teacher to teach you. We have so many avenues for you to gain knowledge today that there is no more excuses for it. Okay. If you can't read, then, buy an easy reading book and start practicing, because in this trade, the uneducated laborer is going to be a thing of the past soon, especially with the LED technology, the way the codes are working. Every single employee in the electrical trade is going to have to be knowledgeable, and it's not going to be able to be taught just on the site. This trade's getting more and more complicated every year. And we need educated laborers, all right? So if you don't know how to read, get hooked on phonics, get something. And, people laugh, but there's a lot of people that don't know how to read today. And I barely knew how to read in high school, and I came from a really nice high school. So I understand. And the only way you're going to learn how to read is by reading something that is easy to read, and then work your way up in baby steps. Don't just start trying to read the electrical books, because you're going to get lost, you're going to get frustrated, you're going to shut the book, and you're going to walk away from it and never pick it up again. All right? So if you do know how to read, get some very easy reading electrical theory. Like, start in the very, very basics. I know people don't like reading about protons, electrons, and neutrons, but when you get into this trade, if you can understand the fundamentals, the codes will be easy. You will never be able to memorize all the codes. You have to know how the codes apply. You need to understand the theory before you need to understand what the codebook is doing. The codebook doesn't tell you how to do something. It tells you the circumstances in which you have to work with. Okay, so a codebook doesn't say how to install a certain thing, because there's too many variables. The codebook would be 5,000 pages long if it spoke about every different situation. What the codebook does is it lays the playing field out for you to be able to play ball. It just puts the field out there, and it tells you what the rules of the game are. It doesn't tell you how to run. It doesn't tell you anything else. It's basically just the rules of the game. And to understand those rules, you have to understand the theory. And this is why we don't have as many mechanics today as we should. We've strayed from knowledge, and we went to this, like, it's almost as if we're harboring knowledge from people so they don't become mechanics. That way we can keep them paid low. I don't know who started it. I know businesses are taking advantage of it. I don't want that on my company, so I stress the importance of knowledge, because it's the secret. It's the secret to making more money in this trade. So let's get back. This is not meant for mechanics. This is meant for the first year in or the 6 month in guy. If you want to see your income multiply, and I really do mean multiply, because when you're a year in, your pay could multiply 3 to 4 times if you work it right. One, the very first thing I have to say is grow up. All right, there's gonna be a time when you start taking responsibility for yourself. You're not gonna, every time you give it a reason why something happens, you're just making an excuse for you being a failure. It's very, and grown-ass men do it too. Take responsibility for every single action you do. Don't give a reason for it, okay? The moment you start giving reasonings, you're basically stating this is why I failed, okay? Number one. Number two, for 1 year, don't think about money. I understand by now you fell into the trap of buying a vehicle and living to every single penny of your paycheck, because your paycheck isn't large anyway. So you fell into the trap of living for every penny of that paycheck. You need to get out of that. Get back to living on 60 cents a dollar, on every dollar. So 60% of your paycheck, live on that. Just hear me out. I know it's not fun, I know it's not easy, but it will multiply your income. So live on 60 cents of the dollar. The remainder of that, just put aside. You're gonna need it, okay? You're gonna need it for clothes, you're gonna need it for tools. You are gonna become a mechanic. So you need to put some savings aside to fund that, all right? So for 1 year, live on 60 cents of every dollar if you're able to do it. If you can't, then the next steps are gonna be hard. Don't think about the money you're making, all right? Just for 1 year, don't think about it, all right? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna be the best mechanic you can be, regardless if you get paid for it or not. You're gonna show up 15 minutes early, ready to work, not show up on time and then put your tool belt on and ask the boss what's next. You're gonna take an initiative. You're gonna basically be there 15 minutes early. You're gonna try to figure out what the goals are of the day, and you're gonna try to anticipate the next step with guidance. Don't just start doing stuff, you're gonna get in trouble, okay? But you're gonna start anticipate. You need to see what the next steps for your job are for the remainder of the day, and you're gonna do them to the best of your ability. To don't go and try to hang out with your buddy on the other side of the job site. Don't try to chuckle along with a mechanic that you know is a fuck up, okay? And I don't mean to curse, but some of these helpers, they get into wanting to hang out on jobs like everyone's their buddy. And this is your career, okay? And you need to start thinking about what's gonna happen in the next 5 years, especially if you're a first year in. This trade can have 2 different avenues. You can make next to nothing in 10 years, or you can multiply your income in 10 years, all right? And what avenue you go by, you might not even realize it, but you're choosing it every single day the way you act. If the name of the game on the job is, if the owner wants the job completed, the name of the game is to figure out how to complete it for him, okay, and not complain about it, okay? Just for 1 year. We're not talking about you're gonna be a pushover for the rest of your life. We're talking about for 1 year, you're gonna try to gain as much knowledge as possible about job sites, about your mechanic. If your mechanic likes to get started on this in the morning, prep him to get started on that in the morning. So what you wanna do is you wanna devote yourself to the trade for 1 year. You wanna, by doing so, you're gonna learn the isms of mechanics. You're gonna learn how a mechanic sets up. You're gonna learn the push times and the slow times. If a mechanic is hustling, he wants his helper hustling. If a mechanic is slowing down and he's getting bogged down, he wants his helper to help push him through it. Mechanics don't want to work slow. Mechanics want to work at a rate that is profitable. So if you see your mechanic getting held up, push him through it. Clean up. Don't just stand there and watch him. Try to keep busy at all times, nonstop. Try to make yourself productive at all times. And by doing so, you're going to create value for yourself. If it doesn't matter if people see you one day, or don't do it on purpose to be seen. Just do it. And just do it nonstop. All right. And management and the higher ups and people will start seeing this. And by seeing this, you're going to create wealth for yourself. You're going to create a value upon yourself. And the first value you're going to create is you're going to hold your job over other people. Okay, and you might actually see people get fired. All right. The next step, they're going to start teaching you things. That they see that you got the game down. Okay, so then they're going to start teaching you on the job training. I'm going to tell you right now, mechanics don't teach knuckleheads. Okay, if some guy's fooling around, the mechanic is going to use him for his amusement, like joking and fun. But you'll never learn anything from him because all you are is basically there for his amusement. Okay, maybe you're picking stuff up, brooming it. But if you show initiative and you show that you're part of the game, the mechanics will actually start teaching you more. And now this is where you're going to start multiplying your income, because you already know part of the game. Now you're being taught part of the job. And now you're able to apply the theory you learned in school to what you're being taught. And if you know your theory and maybe you need to refresh it, pull your books from school back out and kind of refresh yourself, because you want to ask questions. And no question is a dumb question, but technically there's some stupid ass questions people ask. Make sure your questions are on point to what the mechanic is doing. And don't ask questions about football. Don't ask questions about other crap to become friends with your mechanic. Okay? You want to ask questions that are related to what you're doing. So if you're working on a service, look up services in the Codebook or in whatever school books you have. And as you're doing like the feeds, ask why no locks has to get put on aluminum wires. Okay, ask certain questions that a mechanical will be like, wow, this guy actually is paying attention to what I'm doing. They will actually help you and educate you more. And as you do this, you're showing up early every day, you're showing initiative, you're helping your mechanic. The mechanics will want to work with you. If certain jobs we have like 3 or 4 mechanics on, and the mechanics pick the helpers. They're like, I don't want him, I want him. And if a mechanic has a hard job, he wants a helper that's on point that can bang that hard job out. One office sees that. So if an office sees that Joe, or like badass Joe, who's tough as nails, wants little Jimmy, well, Joe and Jimmy, all of a sudden the office hears your name for the first time. Who the hell is this Jimmy helper? Why does Joe want him? Okay, boom. Now the office knows you. So within 1 year, you have mechanics respecting you. You have the office finding out that these hardcore mechanics want you with them. Okay, the moment the office hears your name, boom, you're in view of them. This is what you want. Because when a review time comes along, believe me, when an office gives you a review, they still want to keep your pay low. Their goal isn't to pay you more. Their goal is to keep value within their company. That doesn't mean you get compensated for that value, okay? As a helper, if you're doing all this on purpose, you're going to realize and you're going to see the value that you're creating within yourself. And that's where bargaining comes in. And that's where, like, I talk to people about their education, their certifications. If you take a journeyman's test, you're automatically going to be awarded a certain amount if you're showing initiative, if you're acting appropriately on a job site. You're creating value that they can't not compensate. All right. So the first year guy, if you do this for a year and then you go in for a review and you hear the review, and you're going to actually have a leg to stand on, because you're going to tell them how you showed up early every day. You're going to tell them the value that you created within yourself. And if this company is that much of a D-bag, the value you created within yourself, you can go somewhere else. And by all means, the mechanic, if you want to put down references, put down the mechanics that you worked under that picked to work with you. And another company will call these mechanics up, okay? And these mechanics are going to be like, dude, he knows his stuff. And this other company might offer you, who knows, they could double your income. You don't know if you don't try it, okay? I literally have doubled my income when I was doing my apprenticeship program. I was with a couple companies that had a lot of education, but not a lot of compensation. So I learned a lot in a year, and I devoted myself, but their compensation was lacking. Well, I just took my education and went somewhere else and doubled my income. I didn't jump around for like $1 more an hour. Like, I devoted myself, and I doubled my income one year. Actually, I doubled my income a couple times. I'm telling you this because people don't see the ladder that is easily there, and they would rather hang out with their buddies, go party, and these mechanics are looking at them as like fools. Believe me, I was called a fool until I met my mentor. When I met him, he's like, "When are you gonna start growing up?" I was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" And he started telling me, like, there's a lot more money in this trade than you see right now. And that's when I started maturing and taking responsibility for my actions. And it's a long process, don't get me wrong, but if you have a job and you're a first year in and you want to don't wait for money to come to you, because it won't. Like, they'll give you raises. They'll give you like $1 here, $1 there. But in order to see like substantial income raises, like real money, you have to devote yourself. So give it a 1-year challenge. You're not gonna show up early, go to bed early, okay? Like, put the booze down. If you drink a lot, try to cut back on drinking, because drinking is one of the #1 reasons why guys don't get raises. All right, just because you're just not 100%. No matter how much you think you're at 100%, but you're not. So that's basically what I wanted to tell my first year in. All right, good luck. God bless. Take care. Hit the like button, subscribe. Have a good one. Bye-bye.